I've learned a new jurisprudence today that you can abandon your pleading in your brief of argument, not at the trial court, even when evidence is laid. So as a student of jurisprudence, I've learned a new thing today, that pleadings can now be abandoned in a brief of arguments at the Court of Appeal, not at the trial court, even when evidence is laid. So as lawyers, we are now learning a new jurisprudence. This is the first I'm learning it, and I've learned now.
The judgment is first and foremost very, very sound. There was a lot of industry, a lot of scholarship, and a lot of erudition that went into the delivery of the judgment. But bottom line, the judgment is a confirmation of the will of the good people of Kogi State, which they expressed on the 16th of November 2019. That's my reaction on behalf of the APC.
We are all highly delighted that the Supreme Court reaffirmed the victory, the election that gave our governor his second term. We want to thank God for the consistency of the judiciary. You recall that both the Senate election and the governorship election took place the same day. Now, in the Court of Appeal, 70 out of 73 witnesses that PDP brought to the court affirmed that the election was free and fair. So we're not expecting anything different from here, because it's the same election, the same day. Now, what the PDP did during the election was to get films of riots in time past and place it to misinform the world that the election in Kogi was not free, was not fair. These were clips of riots in other places, not even in Kogi State, just to mislead people. We want to thank the judiciary for their tenacity, for taking pains. If you listen to the judgment, they said the petitioners came just on academic exercise, and that all the allegations lack merit. They didn't even have evidence of anybody coming to stand that the election was not free and fair, that the election was rigged. Now, they generalized their allegations. They said crimes were committed. By who? In law, you don't generalize criminal activities. You must be specific. So we want to thank God that we have a judiciary that is very, very credible. And we thank God that more than ever before, we now have a leader in our state, our governor, who our people, the people of Kogi State, believe in his leadership, and they have affirmed that. Thank you. Don't forget that power belongs to God. God has actually anointed Yahaya Bello as our leader. The Bible says, once has God spoken, 12 have I heard that power belongs to God. Assalamu alaikum.
In the immortal words of William Shakespeare, all is well that ends well. This has been a protected legal battle from December now. We have concurrent decisions of the trial tribunal and the Court of Appeal being affirmed by the Supreme Court today in Wada'S appeal. What the court in dismissing the appeal said is that the law improving whether you won an election by majority of lawful votes has not changed. It still remains the law. You must bring cogent and credible evidence, and election petitions are not fought on sentiment, but by clear and cogent evidence. You could see that the Supreme Court today, in deciding the case, said they needed to bring people who were at those polling units to give life to the documents they brought. Most of the documents brought were not spoken to by the makers of those documents, and even the expert evidence, the court held that there was no pleading to support that particular evidence of PW19 because they have abandoned those two grounds of the petition which border on corrupt practices and non-compliance. So you cannot use facts pleaded in support of non-compliance and corrupt practices to establish majority of lawful votes. The court has restated, this was stated in the Kano election petition, governorship election petition, Kabir's case, and now it has been affirmed by the Supreme Court that you cannot do that. So all in all, the court held that this was a case where the evidence brought before the trial tribunal could not support the petition, and the court accordingly dismissed it. While in the other petition, the court also held that the allegations of qualification, non-qualification against Alhaji Yahaya Bello and Edward Onoja, the deputy governor of the Kogi State, were not established. They were not able to bring evidence to contradict their form CF01 which they submitted to INEC. So the court didn't hesitate to dismiss that allegation. And similar to what happened in PDP, there was no cogent evidence to prove the allegation of corrupt practice and non-compliance, particularly the allegation that their name and logo was not on the ballot. The court said that at least one would have expected them to have brought the ballot papers to show that their name and his logo is not there, but they didn't do that. And they also needed to bring witnesses to bring forth their allegations. So in the end, we are happy with both judgments. They are an enrichment to our electoral jurisprudence, and it still shows that the law remains the law, and the law is devoid of sentiment.
Indication that there is hope for Nigerian democratic development. As you can see, the people of Ijumu local government, people of Kogi West Senatorial District, Kogi State at large, came out en masse to exercise their franchise in voting massively for His Excellency Governor Yahaya Bello. Go to Ijumu local government now, see people killing cows, rams, celebrating this very victory. And we thank God, this can be bestly described as amalgamation of justice, fairness, credibility at its peak. So, and a reflection of people's wishes. So I congratulate His Excellency Governor Yahaya Bello. I congratulate His Excellency Deputy Governor David Edward Onoja, the distinguished Senator Smart Adeyemi,